Kia ora and welcome. We're going around Hagley Park today. This is Christchurch History Tours and I'm Kevin. Just sneak past this family here so that they all remain safe. And we're just coming around the northern edge of North Hagley Park. Now this path that we're on is lined by cherry blossoms, and in springtime this place here becomes an absolute explosion of pink and white. So it doesn't look very spectacular at the moment because, well, it's winter, so no leaves on the trees, no blossoms either. But when it comes to springtime, it'll look like it'll look absolutely spectacular. Something like this. How popular is it? It's extremely popular with locals and with visitors to the city alike. And we'll often see great big long traffic jams back into the central city as people are trying to find parks along Harper Avenue and the other adjacent streets so they can visit this part of the city. Now, just over to the right-hand side is Hagley Golf Course. And this is a 9-hole golf course that's very, very close to the central city, being in Hagley Park. Christchurch has a lot of golf clubs, but none of them are as close to the central city as what Hagley Golf Club is. In fact, I don't think there'll be too many golf courses that will be as close to the central city location as what Hagley Golf Course is. Now, Hagley Park is split into three parks, divided by Harper Avenue, which is the road we see just on our left-hand side, and Riccarton Avenue, which separates North and South Hagley Park. So across the road from here is Little Hagley Park, which is more of a woodlands park. Now just coming up to, on our right hand side, is we're going to see some of the first trees that were planted in Hagley Park. And so this is a stand of pine trees that were planted in 1870. Now typically pine trees in New Zealand don't really see a great big lifespan, very rarely anything more than 30 years. So these ones are well over 100, so that explains why they've reached the height that they've reached. There's a similar stand just by Victoria Lake, which is just further inside the park. Now this part of Hagley Park is, you normally see this is where runners and dog walkers will park, and just so that they can use the facilities around the park. Dotted around the park is exercise equipment and all sorts, just to take advantage of this. Very, very popular with runners, dog walkers, families in general. And because this is a path that goes right around the outside, you'll often see a lot of cyclists as well. Now this part of Hagley Park is also known for holding events and has held them for many, many, many years. So you'll see music festivals, food, wine, beer festivals, the lot. So this part of Hagley Park has seen a lot of drunken escapades over the years. New Zealand's largest music festival is held in this spot of Hagley Park. In fact, it's not just New Zealand's largest music festival, it's Australasia's biggest. So in 2025, Electric Avenue hosted over 70,000 people over 2 days. Electric Avenue has grown over the years, so it's from starting as just a small music festival for the city to one where visitors come from not just New Zealand but from overseas as well. And it's seen such artists as Prodigy, Chemical Brothers, and Primal Scream, as well as many local bands as well. Now, if I was to tell you that on the right hand side, over 100 years ago, you'd have seen this giant exhibition hall, you'd probably be quite surprised. But the International Exhibition was held here in 1906, and this is the brainchild of the Prime Minister at the time, Richard Seddon. And when this building was put up for the International Exhibition, it covered over pretty much most of this part of Hagley Park. The International Exhibition ran from the 1st of November 1906 to the 15th of April 1907. And following the closure of the exhibition, the building was demolished. So by November 1907, it was gone. But at the time, if you saw the building, you've seen this gleaming white building that stood out in the city mainly because the city was such a low-rise city at the time. It was only had about 50,000 people living in it. Now we're just going to cross the Armagh Street Bridge here, and we're just going to leave the park and follow the bike path for a bit. And on the right hand side is Christ College, and Christ College is Christchurch's most prestigious boys' school, certainly one of the more expensive ones, and it's modelled on schools from the English public system, so it has very, very similar look to the buildings as you'd find in an English public school, and including the Hogwarts style dining hall. Now just to the right next door to the Christ College is Canterbury Museum, which is currently undergoing a big redevelopment. And when it was being before it was being redeveloped, they turned over the museum to a whole heap of street artists and just let them basically go nuts and create as to their heart's content. It was a really, really good way for the museum to go out before it was closed for 5 years for its redevelopment. Just to the left is the Arts Centre. Now, this is formerly Canterbury University and was established in 1873. And amongst the alumni who attended Canterbury University were Ernest Rutherford, who was the first person to split the atom. So it's quite a spectacular neo-Gothic style building, or series of buildings, and a very, very good place to visit. So Canterbury University moved to Asylum Campus in 1975. Now just to the right we have the gates that lead into the Botanic Gardens, which is Christchurch's most popular destination for visiting. So they do free guided tours through the gardens as well. And we're just coming up on the right hand side. We see Christchurch Hospital, and as we just join the path here and very carefully work our way past some of these pedestrians, we're just going to cross over the over the Antigua Street Bridge. This is a foot and cycle bridge that is very, very popular with just linking parts of the city. It goes over the Avon River, and just to the left of it is the Antigua Street boat sheds, and that's a great place to go if you just want to canoe up and down the Avon. So we're just going past the hospital, just coming towards Riccarton Avenue. Cricketon Avenue and coming over into South Hagley Park. So while North Hagley Park has got events, a golf course, Christ College sits in a part that used to be Hagley Park, as well as the Christchurch Botanic Gardens. South Hagley Park is used mostly for sports. So almost as many sports as you can think of. So rugby, football, netball, cricket, softball, hockey, even sports like AFL and Gaelic football, and many others. So across the road on the left hand side is Hagley College, so it's the secondary school, and just over on the right hand side, there used to be a helipad that the Christchurch Hospital used to use before they had a helipad built on one of the new buildings. Now just over on the right hand side is the netball courts, and netball is the highest participation sport for women and girls in New Zealand. And these courts are the main place where they play in Christchurch. So on Saturdays in particular, this area is very, very busy. Lots of games going on, lots of players, lots of spectators, and it's a really, really busy area. So they have the netball centre there as well, which is where the offices are for the Canterbury Netball. Right, so just a wee bit of history of Hagley Park while we're going past past the sports fields here. So Hagley Park was established in 1855, so only 5 years after the Canterbury region and Christchurch were established, and it's named after the country seat of Lord Lyttelton. And if you're wondering what a country seat is, so am I, but I think it's what we call a home. So his home was called Hagley Lodge, and so that's where we get Hagley Park from. So the park itself covers 165 hectares, so that's a reasonable chunk of land. And if you're trying to put it into some sort of context of how big it is, if you're from New York, it's about half the size of Central Park. And if you're from London, it's just a bit bigger than Hyde Park. In fact, it looks a lot like Hyde Park in places, particularly with the trees ringing around the outside. And so amongst some of the other unusual sports that you would see at Hagley Park, once a year you'll see polo being played. It's not played in this part of Hagley Park, but played in North Hagley. But if you're thinking that sport, horses is probably not a very good mix for a central city park, they used to do horse racing here too. Now just coming up over one of the waterways that leads into the Avon River that winds its way through Hagley Park, and it's Addington Brook, and at the moment it's undergoing a bit of a project to improve the waterway itself, so improving the stormwater runoff, the general health of the river, of the waterway, and just so that it takes care of some of the pollutants that can make their way into the Avon. South Hagley Park also has Hagley Oval, which is the #1 cricket ground in New Zealand, and as a place to watch cricket, it's absolutely spectacular. It's because it's set in the park. There's lots of trees that surround the ground, lots of open sports fields as well. the small grandstand that it has there is in keeping with the sort of the vibe of the whole place, and because it's a international style cricket ground. It's actually a bit larger than the most of the other cricket grounds in New Zealand, and most of the spectators will sit on a grass bank, and it's a really good day out if you're going to see cricket. Now, just alongside this part of Hagley Park, just the western edge, is Deans Avenue. And so Deans Ave is one of the four Aves. So the four Aves that go around central Christchurch are Deans Ave, Morehouse Ave, Fitzgerald Ave, and Bearley Ave. So they don't quite all meet up. So Bearley Ave doesn't meet Deans Ave at all, but it is that is what the four Avs are in Christchurch. Now, just to the left-hand side, we just see a spire that's just up, and we can see just on the left-hand side. That's the Eldor Mosque, which was sadly one of the places where the mosque shootings took place. So, very, very dark day for Christchurch. So yes, wasn't too long after the earthquakes, and so it was a general feeling of very much doom and gloom at the time. Just going over Washbourne Creek, another one of the waterways that leads into the Avon River, and we're just coming up to the corner of South Hagley Park, where we'll cross back over into North Hagley. And so what's at that corner is called Nancy's Corner, and it's called Nancy's Corner because there used to be a hotel there, and the hotel was nicknamed after the owner of the place, so it was called Nancy's. And the pub itself is long gone. It's been replaced by that building that we see on our left-hand side, which is a hotel. And yeah, but there's certainly a generation of Christchurch folk who will remember the Nancy's pub being there. Now, this is an intersection of Riccarton Ave, Deans Ave, and Riccarton Road, so this is a very, very busy intersection here. And if you're protesting against a particular, or for a particular cause, or against the government or whatever, this is a good place to come because it's very high visibility. So we're back into North Hagley now, and we're just coming along towards the end of our scoot around the park. The right-hand side is a lot of the rugby grounds in Hagley Park. So this is quite widely used at this time of year. It's very quiet in summer though. It's really only used for touch rugby, and that's usually on an evening. And as we're coming past there's a turn off that goes onto Kilmarnock Street, and we're coming up past the Doubletree Hotel on the left hand side, and this now brings us towards the end. So thanks for riding along with me. This is Kevin from Christchurch History Tours signing off. Mā te wā.